talk about the content. Who can come and challenge us to where we are? Representing people, Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
Of this minister at the top of the
Because access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which I do.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Leaders need to talk about the content. Who can come and challenge us to where we are? Representing people, Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
of this minister at the top of the
Because access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which I do.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Leaders need to talk about the content. Who can come and challenge us to where we are? Representing people, Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
of this minister at the top of the
Because
Good morning and welcome to Open Air on Atlantic Television Network. Open Air is the network's flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impacts to the society. Today on Open Air, we'll look at first Rivers State. Court ordered substituted service for vacation of local government offices. Still on Rivers politics, Amechi planning to hijack APC, Okocha says. And then on to Ogun State, PDP berates Oxiek on high fees. And then to Benue State, protests stall PDP local government congresses. On Bauchi State, reports allege underage voters participated in polls. And on presidential aircraft, presidency condemns attempt to seize jets. On economy, FAC says government shared 1.3 trillion naira in July. And on end bad governance in Nigeria, over 1,000 protesters in custody, Amnesty International reveals. We are open for adverts, placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Delve right into the show. Don't go away.
Representing people, Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
of this minister at the top of the
Because access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which I do.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Leaders need to talk about the content. Who can come and challenge us to where we are? Representing people, Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
of this minister at the top of the
Because access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people:
We always overcome.
Leaders need to talk about the content. Who can come and challenge us to where we are? Representing people, Mr.
Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
I call the criminal elite of this minister at the Temple of Justice.
Because access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I do.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Leaders movement is not about the country. Who can come and silence us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
I call the criminal elite of this minister at the Temple of Justice.
Because access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I do.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Leaders movement is not about the country. Who can come and silence us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
I call the criminal elite of this minister at the Temple of Justice.
Because access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I do.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Leaders movement is not about the country. Who can come and silence us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
I call the criminal elite of this minister at the Temple of Justice.
Because access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I do.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Leaders movement is not about the country. Who can come and silence us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
I call the criminal elite of this minister at the Temple of Justice.
Because access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I do.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Leaders movement is not about the country. Who can come and silence us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
I call the
place economic stability and confidence.
I got the privilege to lead of this minister at the Department of Justice.
Because access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I do.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Nigeria's midnight is not about the donkey. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
I got the privilege to lead of this minister at the Department of Justice.
Because access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I do.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Nigeria's midnight is not about the donkey. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
I got the privilege to lead of this minister at the Department of Justice.
Because access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Joining me on Open Air this morning is Zoe Tamunotoye Solomon. Zoe is a lecturer and development expert. He's also the national president, Rivers Emancipation Movement. Good morning, Zoe, and welcome.
Choma, it's always a pleasure sitting with you on a Sunday morning.
Same here.
Thank you. You disturbed me of my sleep. I would have been...
Sorry. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Okay. The Federal High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has granted an ex parte application allowing the service of court documents to the Inspector General of Police and the Attorney General of the Federation through substituted means. Additionally, the court on Friday permitted serving the State Commissioner of Police through the officer in charge, legal, State CID, Rivers State. In a suit brought by the Initiative for Transparency, Strategy and Good Leadership, the court also issued an ex parte order to serve the Attorney General of Rivers State, the Governor of Rivers State, Similaye Fubara, and the Head of Service through substituted means by delivering court documents to the Attorney General's office. The defendants are required to appear and explain why the ex parte orders for the police to vacate the Rivers State Local Government Council entrances across the 23 local government areas should not be granted. Zoe, you've been clamoring that the police should vacate the local government council areas. What is your take on this development?
Well, Choma, you can see this is what we've been talking about on this platform and various platforms that we've been speaking about how to entrench democracy, democratic values and principles in our system. This goes to show, the evidence of our claim that we have strong men instead of strong institutions. Because where you have strong institutions, the personnel, the individuals, one of the principles of public service is that the people working in those places are regarded as personnel. They are informal. They don't attach any personal opinion or interest in the carrying out of their duties. However, when you have strong institutions, the personnel will just work according to the rules, according to the principles that have been set, that have been laid down to guide that institution. In this case here, we are talking about the police. But where you have strong men as against strong institutions, the personnel will now begin to carry out their own acts, what they think is the law, not necessarily what is the law. So we have been questioning, what is the essence, what is the reason, and is it constitutional for a government institution like the police to barricade the entrance and denying people the access. The local government is the local government council is the seat of government at the local government level. That the people have access to governance. Now, for the police to totally barricade the entrance of the local government, is it lawful? Yes, granted that the police have the duty, the responsibility to provide security, to provide law and order. They don't have to do that by violating another section of the law.
Which is what law? What section of the
by
law?
Barricading. There is no law empowering the police to stop government. That thing is not just barricading. They are stopping governance at the local government level. So it is okay that some people have taken action, to get an expatriate. Now, mind you, the commissioner of police in Rivers State at some point in the crisis said that he was not going to gain allow entrance to the local government until that there is a court case waiting to be given judgment in few days, that every person should wait. Now, judgment has been given in that matter. That statement alone.
What was the judgment?
Sorry?
What was the judgment?
I don't know the details of the judgment. I can't remember now.
Are you talking about?
But no, there was a case that he said, I think the House of Assembly members went to court whether the validity of them making laws to extend the immediate past local government chairman, and that judgment has been given. I can't remember the details now, but I know.
I agree that the judgment was appealed and the appeal court gave his
so
judgment.
is the commissioner of police now relying on the appeal? So those are the issues. I'm coming. Those are the issues we should have. But for the police commissioner is not even supposed to make such statement. That statement is political.
Okay.
As far as the duties of the police, the powers of the police is concerned, he is to work with the governor of the state, who is the chief security officer of the state.
What is the job of the police?
Is to provide security.
Is the police saddled with the responsibility of protecting
lives and properties? Yes, they have.
All right, continue.
Yes, they have, and they will do that within the confines of the law. That's why I said they don't
act to the law they broke.
That's what I'm saying now. By barricading, denying access for entrance to the local government councils, they are limiting or they are stopping governance at the local government level, which is not part of their responsibility in terms of providing protecting lives and properties.
What led to the police barricading the local government council?
There were threats. I agree with you. There were threats here and there with regards to the conflict.
Threats or actual violence?
With regards to the conflict between the immediate past local government chairman and they saying that they will not leave because there was a law extending their tenure, and the governor saying that no, your tenures have come to an end, you have to leave. So there was tension in the state, and we gave credit to the police at that material time. The commissioner of police and his command in Rivers State were able to contain the tension that time, and they were able to bring it to the level that we didn't incur crisis and casualties to that. I think there was even a loss of life in one of the local government, but they tried. But that does not mean that up till this time the police should continue to barricade the entrance of the local government.
Is the caretaker committee, is it still in contention?
I don't know whether they're in contention or not, but you can see, like I'm saying, if we must follow democratic principles.
If you're following let's talk about democratic principles,
yes,
shall we? Now, the Amatina Mehule House of Assembly extended the tenure of the outgone council chairman by 6 months. And that is the local government law number 5, if you recall. And then, moving forward, the executive took that matter to court and got an ex parte order by a state high court, Justice Wale Scott, by the way, Justice Kyo, I think, to strike out the issue, the law. Now, you recall, the judgments and rulings of Justice Wale was appealed and thrown out by the appeal court. The appeal court nullified every judgment or that ruling by Justice Wale, citing that Justice Wale of the Federal High, the State High Court, as it were, does not have the jurisdiction to entertain matters, legislative matters, and matters pertaining to the governor as well. Now, moving forward, let's just leave the back and forth of River State politics. Now, there was a matter at the Supreme Court level by the federal government versus the 36 states of the Federation, River State included, by the way. And with regards to local government autonomy, you recall that there was also a judgment. When the Supreme Court was giving their judgment, they clearly stated that the state houses of assembly can, by law, extend the tenure of local government councils by 6 months. The Supreme Court gave judgment in favor of the action of the Martin Amaewhule-led government. Now, House of Assembly. Now, when you look at it critically, the police had to barricade these councils to avoid further breakdown of law and order, to contain crisis. And like it or yes, the crisis is still ongoing. These outgone local government chairmen are still agitating. And if you recall, by the way, it has not stopped the caretaker chairman from handling local governments. I mean, you agree with me? Chijoki Hunwo, for instance, appointed over 100 aides without a local government council. Where did he do that from? The governor told them that they can operate from hotels or any place they deem fit. You do not need a structure to govern, by the way, because according to the governor, he has the red pen. He can sign from anywhere he is in the world, as a matter of fact. So when you say they are stopping, now let's look at another perspective. The police barricading the council chairman has at any time these local government workers, these council workers come out to say that their salaries are not being paid because the police barricaded the councils. Can you make it make sense to me?
Well, Choma, the point we are making here is that there are better ways. I think the police can do this without barricading the local government. What better ways
do you suggest?
Whichever. The police can, allow entrance, and they are there. They can mount there and observe that there are no people.
To which people?
To the local government, the local government workers. Committee. Yes. Now, no, not just the local government.
Are you aware that this caretaker? Hold on. Are you aware that according to the law, according to Supreme Court judgment, these caretaker committees are not recognized by law.
So
the law recognizes them as impostors.
Okay,
are you aware of that?
I now understand. So that is what the police is now executing. That the local government, since the caretaker chairman are not allowed.
I asked you a question.
Okay.
Are you aware that the caretaker committees are illegal? Are you aware that by the law they are not recognized? Are you aware that they are impostors according to the ruling of the Supreme Court? Not my ruling, not my statement. I am merely saying what the Supreme Court has said. If you are aware of this fact, why do you expect more breakdown of law and order?
Choma, those things you're saying are not explicit in the Constitution. What the Constitution said
what did the Supreme Court say?
What the Constitution said.
Let me bring out the Supreme Court.
No. See, some of the issues before the judgment that have been dished out from the Supreme Court, some of them are very conflicting and controversial. So let us not go into this.
As it is, Zoe, what I will not let you do is sit on national television and cast aspersion on the ruling of the Supreme Court. Like it or yes.
It's not an expression. There are facts.
Like it or not, there is a ruling that has gone ahead. And that ruling is subsisting. That ruling as it is what everybody is abiding by.
We are not disputing that because the Supreme Court is a final judge, is a final court of law. Are you also aware that there is also judgment, the same Supreme Court, in the case of Lagos versus federal government, where the Supreme Court ruled that these are what to be done as far as it concerns the local government. All of a sudden, the Supreme Court reversed itself in this case. So we are not going into all that. The point we are making here...
You cannot tell me what to go into and what not to go into.
Okay, well, in my own opinion, I don't think we should be, bothering ourselves with that. What the Constitution said about...
What are you bothering yourself with?
What the Constitution said about the local government is that local government should be democratically elected.
What does that mean?
Now, there's an implication, yes, quite.
Okay.
That means if they are not democratic, any institution or any personality that is not democratically elected is not recognized.
So why
to
did
that
the governor
extent,
refuse to
to that
conduct
extent,
elections?
But I've told you on this platform that there is also what we call the doctrine of necessity.
Was there necessary for a doctrine of necessity to
of
come
course,
up
yes, to the extent that the former
local
government chairmen have been removed from office, there was a vacuum.
There was actually no need for that doctrine of necessity. So
we will not be here.
You would agree with me that according to local government law, I mean, there was a window of 3 months for elections, campaigns, and all that to hold. And the governor did not fund the RESEC, and the RESEC did not release dates, and there were calls for local government elections to hold. You were part of the person, so let me remind you of the conversations we've had on my show. You said that it would be unwise for local government elections to hold, for the governor to conduct local government elections. So you said that, and you cited your reasons as, you said that Rivers State, the polity is currently heated, and it would be unwise to hold local government elections because, according to you, it might boil down to violence. That the governor is a peaceful man and has a peaceful demeanor. That in his sense of peace, he feels that the right thing to do is to hold on to that election. And that was your argument, and you stood by that argument. Would you agree?
We have not said, you have not said it, something different. But the point here,
so
this morning,
that's what you have said so far.
Yeah, the point here
now
this morning
let's look at what the Supreme Court ruled. I just reminded you of your statement. So let's go back to the Supreme Court ruling. He says, and I'm quoting the judgment, he says, under Section 135, subsection 3 of the Constitution, the tenure of 4 years for the President provided by Section 135, subsection 2 thereof, shall be extended for periods not exceeding a period of 6 months at any time by a resolution of the National Assembly if it is not practicable to hold elections. The judgment continues. By the same token, by a law of a State House of Assembly, the tenure of local government councils can be legally extended for any reason, such as insecurity or war, if it becomes impracticable or impossible for elections into the local government councils to be conducted. The mandate given to an elected local government council is the mandate of the electorate of that local government area. And if the tenure is extended, it is the people's mandate that it is extended. It continues to say, if the tenure of a local government council is truncated, as it is the norm now, it is an illegal termination of the electorate's mandate, and it is not to be encouraged, but roundly condemned. Now, there are 2 ways to this. In your argument on my show prior to this time, you said the governor was in the right standing to not hold elections because of it's impracticable. The Supreme Court said that it's impracticable, it's not possible to conduct elections because it will lead to violence. Now, granted, the Supreme Court, having understood your argument, also said, in that case, the State Houses of Assembly can extend the tenure of this chairman, local government chairman, by 6 months. So no matter how you look at it, and it even further says, if the tenure of local government council is truncated, as it is the norm now, it is an illegal termination of not the council chairman right now, but the electorate's mandate. And you're faulting the judgment of the Supreme Court, Zoe.
Yes, Choma, those judgments, in fact, some of the judgments the Supreme Court have made of recent will need a legislative backing. Some of those judgments, you can't, like, the Constitution is explicitly clear. Reasons why the tenure of the president and governor can be extended. But it's not there with the local. It's the Supreme Court that is extending it now. It's the legislation.
Who makes the law for the local government?
It's the legislation, the National Assembly.
Was the Speaker of the House of Assembly, was River State House of Assembly in right standing within his jurisdiction, within the prescription of his job, to make law for the local government and extend it by 6 months?
Choma, I wouldn't want us to go into the details of this because it will take our time with regard
don't bother about what is taking the time.
Now, listen, there is also the question. There is also
we pride ourselves on in-depth analysis, correct? Yeah. And you enjoy in-depth analysis. I enjoy the banter with you. And it's very necessary that I pick your brain and know what you're actually thinking and what is going on in your head about this situation. Because on one hand, you know, why I find it interesting, Zoe, is that you have always been a proponent of good governance. In fact, you pride yourself on that. So I am expecting, in light of good governance, that, you know, you will abide according to what the law has said. Don't you think so?
Yes, Choma, if you're going by that narrative, remember there is also the question of the legality of those people, those House of Assembly members who are making that law.
Well, we respect that.
Yes, it's contestation.
But you also agree that Supreme Court is here to give judgment with regards to that. Pending when Supreme Court gives judgment.
Yes, to that extent.
Hold on, Zoe. Pending when the Supreme Court gives judgment to that, you agree that an appeal court has said clearly that in regards to the speakership of Right Honorable Martin Samehule, it's not in contention. So if it is not in contention, why don't we let them be pending when the Supreme Court gives judgment?
Choma, I'm not
aware of that. The question I have, well, it is very surprising, Zoe.
I'm not aware of that judgment. Yes, I'm not aware of that judgment.
It's surprising to me. Yes, are you practicing selective?
What I know.
You've discussed that judgment.
What I know to the extent is that the appeal court said the lower court does not have jurisdiction on those matters that they acted upon. And it is to that extent there was an appeal. And right now there's a matter that's in the Supreme Court.
Do you know the prayers that were before the appeal court?
I can't recall to mind right now.
It is right to say that probably you're not well versed with it.
No, the issue is the people you are also accrediting to make those laws, their legality is also contested. So let's not go into it because there are a lot of issues to address as it regards this.
But the point as it regards this, the police, because you're condemning the action of the police on one hand, and on the other hand, you're also applauding the police. So isn't that double speak?
No.
When you say the police is applaudable, but you expect that they would have left, they vacated the council.
Yes, it's not a double standard. Where they are doing right, we need to say it. I said to the extent that they were able to contain the issues at that material time where there was a lot of tension and the way it was going with some non-state actors threatening the past local government chairman giving their own threat, the police were able to contain the situation to the level that there was.
What makes you think the situation right now is contained?
Well, to the extent that we are not running helter-skelter,
probably because the caretaker chairman do not have access to the council, and the outcome chairman also do not have access to the council.
If that is the security report, well, it is okay. But I think the police, as according to the law, should work in collaboration with the governor. And if the governor says, because the governor is the chief security officer of the state, he should be able to tell where there is crisis or where there are likely to be a breach of the listing, and then invite the police in. So I am saying that there are, in the modern standard of maintaining law and order, protecting lives and property, there are better means, to do this rather than stopping the entire governance at the local government level.
How is the entire governance being stopped
at the local government level?
Is it the executive stopping the governance or the police stopping the
governance? I'm not sure. I don't know if the local government staff going to work.
All right.
Because if files and whatever they need to work with are in the councils.
If I may ask, if governance has been stopped at the local government councils, you recall that, like I mentioned earlier, Chijoki Hunwo employed over 100 persons. Where are they working from, and who is paying their salaries? And another local government caretaker committee chairman as well employed, I think, close to 200 persons as well. Who pays their salaries? Where are they working from exactly? And you also recall that some caretaker committee chairman has been, doing one or two things. And where are they actually operating from? If you say governance has stopped, I'm trying to make that. I'm trying to understand how it has stopped when these people are actually doing what they are doing.
I'm saying that to the extent that what they are doing is not the normal. what we know is that once governance is supposed to take place at the situated place is the council secretariat. So whatever they are doing now is not the normal, and we are not going to that. What we are saying is that the normal should be done. That's my interest.
It's interesting what you choose to go into. When it's not comfortable, you don't want to go into that. Yeah, but
Choma, I don't understand. I am pleading with the police that there are better ways they should come up and allow governance to take place at the local government.
Can you make your suggestions so that it can be implemented?
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. The police can mount at the local government secretariats and open the this thing for look out for workers. They can also do a verification at this thing that those who are going into the council are rightful people, either citizens.
Are there biometrics to do the verification?
The government, police can always do that.
Ghost workers been sorted in the local government.
The police can always do their this thing, and then man to watch that there are no intruders coming into the council. So and once they find out such people, they effect an arrest. That way, even those who want to make trouble will not come when they know that the police is there to check them. So these are some of the ways they can apply rather than closing down governance.
And if they open the councils now, it boils down to the caretaker chairman and the outgone chairman having a head-on clash. What do you advise?
I'm not sure the outgone chairman are contesting.
How are you? Well, I assume you're not very well versed.
Well, they shouldn't contest. No, they should rather go to the court instead of confrontation. If they have any issue, you see, our democracy is not something we fight in the ring. It's not a physical battle. The laws are there. Once you feel your rights are violated, once you feel what it belongs to you in the democratic process is taken away, you go to the court for readdress. There's no need for physical confrontation.
And so far, with the litigations and counter litigations in River State politics, have you seen any physical confrontations? Have you seen any clashes whatsoever? Has anybody died so far in River State?
No, that's what you're assuming now. Your statement implies that if
don't
the
say my statement implies.
No, what if I take from what you said? If the police allow entrance, what I said,
okay? Because don't force my hand to replay a lot of the things you have said on my show. You are a regular.
I'm coming.
No, hold on, Zoe. You are a regular on my show.
Yes.
So it is not right when you recant on some things you have said, because these are issues you have discussed on my show.
Yes.
Every Sunday morning.
Yes.
You have discussed them on my show every Sunday morning, Zoe. So you cannot claim to suddenly have amnesia of these conversations that we have had. Right. Now, I'm holding you on to your conversations. I'm holding you to your words. I'm holding you accountable for the things you have said. And now you're telling me that you no more recall these situations, these litigations, these political issues that you had strong opinion on.
No. I didn't say so. What I'm saying, the fear expresses that if the local government councils are open, there could be an altercation between the caretaker chairman and then the outgone local.
Fear you have.
No, not my fear. That from what I understand in this thing, that's what the police is trying to prevent, isn't it? Security of life and properties and peace and. So that's what I'm saying. Now the police can handle that. There are better ways, and I'm saying that to follow democratic process, people shouldn't go physical, whether the caretaker chairman or the outgone chairman. Now, people should use the law to address issues they have grievances.
You will recall, probably, let me rejig your memory. Let me remind you a little bit of some incidents that happened. You recall the young man coming out from the creeks to threaten and even ask the governor to employ him to oust the outgone local government chairman from office towards the expiration. The video was all over. You recall that non-state actors actually got involved. You recall a policeman died in the fracas that ensued. You recalled the dynamite that was about to be detonated near Presidential Hotel, and according to reports, the person that wanted to detonate it actually lost his limb in the process. You recall the breakdown of law and order. You recall the protests that happened. You recall this outgone local government chairman almost laying siege at the local government councils. You recall even what transpired in the state secretariat. I can go on and on and on and on and on. And this matter is still on. Right? So if you say local government, the police should vacate and allow for breakdown of law and order. I also married it to the Supreme Court judgment. also invalidating the authenticity of the CTC chairman, and you are casting aspersion on the Supreme Court ruling because probably it doesn't align with your thought process. But if you are advocating for true governance, whether the law, services your interest or not, it is what it is. Pending when something happens, don't you think Nigerians should abide by that law? I also asked you, what is the primary responsibility of the police to secure lives and property? What are they doing exactly?
Yeah, Choma, that issue of non-state actors, if you recall, I came out totally and condemned it. But that is where we found ourselves. That is the democracy, the kind of people our democracy have produced. So I was very happy that the governor never associated with such calls and such people, because there was no need for that. And that's why we keep saying here on this platform that the problems of our democracy are institutional, are constitutional and attitudinal, and the major part is attitudinal. All these things you have mentioned, the crisis, the killing, wouldn't have been necessary if people have the right attitude towards democracy by working within the confines of the law and within the constitutional framework, an institutional framework that are available for them to address democratic issues.
All right, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with Rivers State. Do not go away.
And the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I do.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Nigeria's midnight, what about the donkey? Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
I thought the previous release of this minister at the Department of Justice.
Because access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I do.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Nigeria's midnight, what about the donkey? Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
I thought the previous release of this minister at the Department of Justice.
Because access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed.
And confidence.
I thought the previous release of this minister at the Department of Justice.
Because access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I do.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Nigeria's midnight, what about the donkey? Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
I got the privilege lead of this minister at the Department of Justice.
Access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I do.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Nigeria's midnight is not about the content. Who can come and silence us from where we are?
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Outside the caretaker committee, chairman of the All Progressive Congress in Rivers State, Tony Okocha, has accused former transportation minister Rotimi Amechi of planning to hijack the party in the state to fight President Bola Tinubu in 2027. Okocha, however, vowed never to allow Amechi and his man, Emeka Beke, to have their way against journalists in Abuja while reacting to injustice that stands before the A high court in Abuja has sacked the Okocha-led caretaker committee while reinstating Emeka Beke as the APC chairman. Joining me on
Mr. President, my people are on the
place, economic stability and confidence.
Coach, good morning and welcome to what is your take on these allegations by
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I do.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Nigeria's midnight is not about the content. Who can come and silence us from where we are?
If the constitution of the political
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place, economic stability and confidence.
I got the privilege lead of this minister at the Department of Justice.
Access to our money
and once the particular expressions of its constitution or aims and or drifting away from its aims and objectives, it loses its value. APC is a party that is being governed by constitution, or prevention not governed by constitution, but is a constitutionally structured. Before we begin to build, like the way we say, human beings that are bigger than the institution itself. So in the case of Tony Okocha, he's playing the politics of APC. I wonder where he was when the likes of Lai Mohammed, outshined him during the reigns of Muhammadu Buhari, because Tony Okocha would have played a pivotal role in making sure that the administration of Muhammadu Buhari thrived. And again, given the position that Tony Okocha is assuming now, you will begin to ask yourself, this man, did he really work with an Amechi? Because from what I hear him say on different fora, he said that he was the person who was interfacing with the committee that accumulated into the formation of APC. So he was, deputizing Amechi in several meetings and the drawing of the lines that brought about APC. Today, he has known that Amechi is not an orator. He's not a man with many words. I wonder why he even found himself in APC, because APC is a party that thrives in propaganda and in trying to play to the gallery with the mindset of Nigerians. Moving from change to next level. I don't even know where Tinubu contested his own, whether they say went back to change or we are saying the next level. So bringing it back to the what he's saying about Amechi trying to hijack APC in Rivers State. I asked a question to Okocha: has APC won any major elections in Rivers State before, prior to 2023, which all of us knew what happened? has APC positioned itself as a party to be reckoned with in Rivers State? Remember, in 2019, APC were not able to even field any candidate to contest election in Rivers State. So I wonder where the voices of the likes of Tony Okocha, where they were then. And I never knew APC had a vocal person in the person of Tony Okocha, who should have stood firm to fight Nyesom Wike of that time, in making sure that the opposition, whom his party was also the ruling party at the center, with Muhammadu Buhari at the helms of affairs, to fight to make sure that APC's name was in the ballot in Rivers State. Tony Okocha has suddenly found his voice. And I want to ask again, if peradventure his allegations are anything to go by and Amechi hijacks APC in Rivers State, will APC in Rivers State perform any miracle that will lead in the whether Tinubu will come back for 2027 or not? The answer is no. It's an emphatic no, because if you go by the trajectory of how Nigerian presidents has emerged, apart from giving the votes of Rivers people to APC, you know, because of the marriage between Bola Tinubu and Nyesom Wike, it will not have seen the light of the day for an APC in Rivers State to pose a threat to a president coming back, you know, to his seat. So Tony Okocha is just playing to the gallery. As far as I'm concerned, Tony Okocha is just trying to, you know, drum personal attention onto himself, because he has become a political opportunist. He has suddenly become a spokesperson of the APC. Tony Okocha has suddenly become the mouthpiece of APC. Even the spokesperson of APC in the national has suddenly gone dumb. That Tony Okocha has now left his job as the representative of Rivers State in the NDDC and is playing the caretaker, the spokesperson, and the legal advisor and the media publicity secretary of APC, both in Rivers State and federal. So for me, Tony Okocha should take it easy. And the court that has sacked him, you recall, Laurentia, that on this show, I sat down alone that day. You asked me that I'm changing my words on the judgment that they filed against Tony Okocha, which I told you that going by the APC constitution, Tony Okocha will lose out. You could recall that I said that on this platform, and that my prophecy came to pass. Whether he goes ahead to win the appeal is immaterial to me, but I know that going by the APC constitution, like the president as his handlers, and even Tony Okocha, who went on the solidarity demonstration for the president when Nigerians are crying of hunger, the president told us that if anybody wants a regime change, they should wait till 2027. Why not Tony Okocha and APC National or APC Working Committee wait until the tenure of Emeka Beke elapses, which will not take a time for it to elapse, and they can put whomever they want. But if removing Emeka Beke, I don't know him, I have not even heard his voice in Rivers State, other than suddenly he started saying that he's inviting the lawmakers that defected to APC to a meeting and all that, instead of finding a way of repositioning his party and setting up a reconciliation committee in Rivers State. He started playing politics. So if Tony Okocha and APC National are indifferent with what the Emeka Beke-led administration of APC in Rivers State, because of the affinity with Amechi, they should wait and effect a regime change through the Congress, APC Congress, and not through executive fiat. By removing him, knowing that the laws are there for the court to look at, and then know that he is validly, Emeka Beke and his executive were validly elected to be in the saddle of APC Rivers State, and you, because of the infractions that happened during the 2020 election, you want to remove him by fiat. And he has gone to court. The court has spoken. going by the constitution of Nigeria and going by the APC constitution, unless they will reject the APC constitution overnight and then bring back Tony Okocha to continue to saddle as a ETC. And the Supreme Court has also told us that the CTC is a no-go area when it comes to any position.
That is not for party politics. Please.
Okay, it's not for party politics.
Don't mix it up.
So now let APC tarry a while and wait for a proper Congress for regime change in Rivers State APC.
All right, Zoe, I see you smiling.
I'm amazed.
Because it's interesting. Both of you for the first time.
I'm amazed.
Even though I'm not trying to preempt you, but I know already know your stand. So you're amazed that for the first time, both of you one thing.
Well, very well.
Kudos.
And that my colleague is speaking about Tony Okocha like this in this platform, that he has come to see. He has come to see Tony Okocha for who he is.
No, that has always been
he is an interesting position, and I totally agree with him. I totally agree with him. See, but the unfortunate thing here is that this is what the system has produced. I know a professor, Professor Wosu, late Professor Steve Wosu, my mentor in the University of Port Harcourt. He always tells me, he will say, Zoe, a nation is a reflection of its people. You know, it's after many years that man died, I begin to understand the import of that statement. What you get, the people you see running the system, is what the system have created. The likes of Tony Okocha. So, because what claim is this? The questions to ask now are one. First, what was the reason to truncate the tenure and the office of the Emeka Bike? What was the reason of APC? Secondly, the Amechi, former Governor Amechi, Tony Okocha is accusing now. Is he no longer a member of APC? So where does the issue of hijacking comes in if Amechi is still a member of APC? So this is what Tony Okocha is. This is what he plays to the gallery. He always looks for attention. How can Tony Okocha, who is an APC man, okay, organize a rally in the name of projecting the president in the states and put on his t-shirt badge 002 and claim that there is a 001 in the person of the minister who is a member of PDP? So these are the kind of manipulation and games Tony Okocha plays to get national attention, to get the president attention. Maybe he's afraid. Maybe he's looking at 2027. He wants to become governor in Rivers State. So he needs to make himself relevant and play that, what do you call it now? Chameleon play to make the president think he's in charge, he's on ground for him. But this is what I would advise Tony Okocha. Instead of playing all these games, just go by the constitution. There is a court judgment. You obey the judgment first. First, he has refused to obey the judgment. That's one thing. He has refused to obey the judgment because recently he gathered some national NWC officials and claimed that he remains the caretaker chairman. So to that extent, he has not obeyed the court judgment. So what I would advise Tony Okocha is first obey the court judgment. Then if you have a reason that the court judgment is in error, you can also appeal. But in the first place, let him obey the judgment and allow internal democracy to work. That's my advice for Tony Okocha.
Well said, Zoe, but I also find that interesting that you are at variance with the earlier conversation we had. So when it comes to Tony Okocha, Zoe, you advise that Tony Okocha should abide by the judgment pending the outcome of the appeal. But when it comes to Rivers State's politics, the governor should not abide by the court judgment pending the outcome of the Supreme Court's appeal. Well,
I didn't say so.
No.
I didn't say so. I am not the governor, so I won't be able to speak for him.
No, when it comes to Rivers State politics, the court order should not be obeyed. Supreme Court judgments should be set aside because it is faulty, according to you. But when it comes to an individual whom you do not exactly like his modus operandi, court order should be obeyed. Isn't that selective implementation of the law? But moving on,
I didn't say. You can't set aside the Supreme Court judgment. I didn't say the Supreme Court judgment should be set aside. That is an impossible mission. What I said is that the Supreme Court judgment sounds controversial. My understanding.
You're not going back to that conversation. I just wanted to bring it up.
You're a scholar, and you have always posited here, like I borrowed your word today, that we build masquerades.
Yeah, strong men against strong institutions.
Against strong institutions. But I will also align with you, bringing Governor Similaris Fubara into it, because he has become a politician. Because I say that he who fears the heat should not near the kitchen. Yep. In that light, the society, what I was taught in, what you people taught me in sociology, is that the society, the family is a reflection of the society.
Yes.
So the society who also produced the governor, who has learned, and now he has learned through the ropes. He has learned through the roots by looking at his predecessors and those traditional politicians in Nigeria. So the governor is also towing the same line, because he is also a reflection of the society. Like exactly. I always say, all the places who have been in the world, it is not the angels that build those places. They are human beings. So if we begin to obey the law, it can begin with you. Like Navdak said during the late Dora Akunyere, that it begins with you. The governor can be different. Being the governor that received the protesters and makes his mark,
it's a golden opportunity.
Now be a golden opportunity for him
it's
to
a golden opportunity.
And the tenets of the law.
All right, gentlemen.
It's a golden opportunity, but some of us do not have the opportunity to even advise the governor. It's a golden opportunity. What my colleague has said there, that the governor can take advantage.
We don't need to overflog this. I just had to, marry what you have said when you spoke so beautifully and you advised Tony Okocha so beautifully to, follow the law. And
I'm also advising the
governor. And wait for the outcome of the appeal. But interestingly, your advice did not apply to Rivers State politics.
The same thing. The same thing.
That would be you now, recanting everything you have said initially. But let's move on to Bauchi State. Underage voters allegedly participated in the local government election that was held in Bauchi State on Saturday. From the images gathered, children were seen holding ballot papers, standing on queues and waiting to cast their votes. Video footage captured children at Machia polling units, senior primary school polling units, Bunusai polling units in Ningi West and Ningi East casting votes. Zoe, what do you have to say? I mean, underage voting, it's not new in Nigerian elections.
Particularly in the north.
Yes. So what do you have to say to this?
It's a crime against the states, and if such people if they are underage, it also means by implication they cannot be prosecuted. So, but it goes down to the politicians. Who are the people that are initiating? Because these underage people cannot just suddenly say they want to vote.
How did they get the votes?
Yes, those are the issues. Those are the issues.
Where were the INEC staff and ad hoc staff?
The state independent electoral body. How did they incorporate these people? How did they register them? Because to register for this thing, you must come physically before an official, and then they will be able to assess you. You must show some evidence of your age and everything. So these are the issues. See, the manipulation.
Was it manual voting or with beavers? There are a lot of questions.
Yes, those are the things we also need to find out.
To fly?
Did they just line up and they counted them, or they have a ballot paper? Because you have to also accredit. So the essence of accreditation is to know who is qualified and right to vote. So these are the issues. See, let me bring this back. Let's look at the bigger picture. We may look at it as a small issue, but let's bring it to the bigger picture, the entire Nigerian state. Part of the reason or the demands of the end hardship and bad governance protests, one of it is the overhauling of the 1999 Constitution. Let me tell you what is happening in America today. Americans are now moving from democracy to a constitutional government. If you look in the campaign today in America, you will hear slogans like fighting to protect democracy. That's what the Democrats are fighting to protect democracy. Why are they fighting for fighting for the survival of democracy? They are afraid. Why are they fighting for the survival? It's because they are afraid that democracy is threatened. Now, in America, after more than 20 years of practicing of democracy, some people have come to realize.
200 years.
Yes, some people have come to realize that the constitution is even better than the democracy cultures they are looking at. Some people have come to see that the letters of the constitution, the Declaration of Independence law, the constitution, the letters of the founding fathers by Jefferson, Mendelssohn, some people have come to see that those write-ups, those articles protect the individuals and the institution more than, because the politicians are now hiding under the context of democratic principles. So people have come to see that. So yesterday I watched a clip where two people are arguing, and somebody make a fundamental point that he is not interested in democracy. He is interested in the constitution and the founding fathers write-up. And I saw reasons with him. And that's why we are calling in Nigeria that we should come back, because Nigerian politicians are hiding under democratic culture. And you know, democratic culture, you can change the goalposts, like my colleague said here, every now and then. Once we have strong men who have the resources and the influence to influence things in the party and at the institutional level. So that's why we are saying, let us come down and sit down and give ourselves a constitution that will take care of a judgment, that when a judgment, a court of A gives judgment, it will be the same. There is nothing a court of B will do in the evening when a court of A gives one, because there should be consistency. There should be no room where a court of A will find something to give judgment to favor party A, and a court of B in the evening will find another section of the constitution on the same matter to give judgment that will favor party B. So let's sit down. That is the first thing we are also looking for, even though we are asking for the reversal of the fuel price for us to have a better economy. Those are the things. So if we want to make progress, of course, unfortunately, those who are at the realm of affairs now, the politicians we have today, are not interested of tomorrow. They are not looking at the future. They just want to have get what they want and have it to spend it now and keep something for their children. But the young ones like us are looking at the future. I keep asking, what kind of democracy do I want to hand over to the next generation, to my children? And that always brings to my mind, you remember when Martin Luther King in 1968, he said, I look forward to a country where my children will be judged not by the content of not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. That is what should, give us the vision to sit down, whether at the National Assembly level, whether at a national conference, to sit down to say, what do we want as a nation? Ask ourselves fundamental questions. Before they came up with the American Constitution, they started with the Confederal Constitution because they were not sure whether they want to be one country, the different states. So they started with Confederation and they strengthen it until they get to the federal. So we need to sit down and ask ourselves fundamental questions. First, the different regions, the different ethnic groups, do we want to be one Nigeria? I think many of the majority of the ethnic groups want to be one Nigeria if they will have a fair share in the Nigerian system. So those are the issues we should look at, so that we can also take care of electoral matters like this.
All right. If I go to what is your take on this issue?
Zoe was taking me on a trajectory of one of the investigations I made some time ago. If you come to the issue of undervoting, you also talk about overvoting, because both of them go in pari passu.
Yes.
Laurentia, you recall that on this national television I have said it that in 2019 I visited Nigeria, and after the program I came, I had the opportunity of conducting a primary investigation in the relationship and the fallout and some of the impasse that is happening between the Muslims and Christians in southern Kaduna. That took me from Abuja to Kaduna, and within that time space, I was there when local government elections were being conducted by a former governor of Kaduna State, Erufai, where I saw the type of electronic machine he used that made the elections seem seamless, that oppositions also got their slots. Then during that particular election, I'll tell you for free, what I saw really amazed me. children were voting. And you know why you are hearing the one in Bauchi State is because it's within them. Because I know that either APC or another party is now accusing the PDP of allowing underage voters. But it's been the trajectory, it's been the tradition in Nigeria since the inception of democracy. And those who witnessed the 1993 general elections will also tell you the same. That I have read an expose where they say that even the people who were queuing in the option A4, after counting them, they go back again and queue on the line. So this has been the nature of the elections in Nigeria. You know, without manipulation, they will not win election. This is, you're looking at it as underage voting. It's not underage voting, it's another form of rigging election. Let's say it the way it is. Because if you don't allow this underage voters, you might not get the adults who has come to have rationality to vote according to their conscience. But these younger ones can be manipulated. And that is why politicians manipulate the voting process. Remember, I don't know whether I've started appearing on ATN then, or whether it's on your sister radio station that I was called upon during the passage of the Electoral Act 2022. Laurentia, I said that very day, I could remember my words vividly, that the election amendment has a clause and there is also a window. One, when the senators were debating, they said that Alain Dume came up and said that he cannot even access internet in his hometown. He said it during the debate on the floor. That they were not asking him, how do people there receive money? How do they operate POS? He didn't answer that question. Then, what does that leave us with? That left Nigeria with the two options of voting. That where it is impracticable for the beavers to receive internet, go for manual accreditation. There was an incident form still existed even in the amendment of the Electoral Act. You go and check it. And it is through that window of incidents form that the politicians rig elections. Because they know that if it goes the whole hog, being electronic, it will be impracticable for them to manipulate the election. What did they do? They created two windows. And today, that two windows is what has come to haunt us in the actual voting process. That during the Jonathan era, the election that ousted Jonathan, what happened? There was underage voting and we shouted. But today, because it is happening within the state, it is intrastate. That is why you are now seeing it as a cry that has become a national. See, a lot of people are getting to know about it for the first time, which is a no. It has been part and parcel of the way elections have been manipulated in some states and zones and geopolitical zones in Nigeria, and we allow it to fly. But today, that evil that you have allowed to fester has come to haunt you. That is why we are hearing it. But what is the way out? The way out is that Nigeria should go, if they want to go electronic, let us go electronic. And the electronic also brings to bear during the process of registration. Because if you see a child of 13 years, you will know. If you see a child of 15 years, you will know. No matter how you say, this person has outgrown the age, no. That is why you go for data capturing. You go for some interviews before you are being registered. So this is not new. And once it has become a form of rigging election, it will continue. This will not be the last. In Edo State, you will still find overvoting. And all the elections have been cancelled in Nigeria because of overvoting. Okay. Elections have been cancelled in Nigeria because the Electoral Act was not followed. But has election been cancelled because of what we see on national television, children carrying electoral voting materials? And Laurentia, that Kaduna that I'm telling you, even people that were dead, oh, my nation Nigeria, dead people, their family members were bringing out their voters card to vote because the electronic machine will accept the card. It is not verifying you. It will verify the card, whether the card is still in use, and it will vote. They were voting in Nigeria with the cards, voters card of dead people. It happened in Nigeria. That is why you could see also some people, this particular area that they are crying that there is underage voting. During census, what happens, Laurentia? What happens is that the borders are open for other people to come in. Let us say the truth and say it the way it is. These manipulations have been happening over time. But who will bear the cat? That during Nigerian census, some people who want to hegemonize the other people, who want to continue to subjugate the other people, open the borders and allow other nationalities to come in. And they register, and their numbers begin to outgrow. But what I know from from crisscrossing Nigeria is that they not have landmass. Agreed. You can move from Mina to Kotangora within the same state. You are driving 6 hours. But what is the concentration of settlements and the people you see on the road as you travel? You see a very negligible concentration of houses. But come to the south, where we are choked here, and somebody will come tomorrow and tell you that some part of the country are in population. Why not take that? The Southerners have said the north, it has the vast majority of the land, so to say. But what of the population is still in contention till today, and the reflection is what you are getting during elections in Nigeria, Laurentia.
All right.
Well, let me just quickly add. Well, my little knowledge of geography tells me there is no way a desert area will be more populated than a dense area like the south. So that's just simple. But to add, part of the solution to the electoral fraud we are talking about, why we wait for a constitutional overhaul to handle all these issues? Why can't our country, again, is a problem of the politicians. They don't want the right thing to be done. At this age of technology, we don't need all these electoral. We can vote just by our national ID card. Our national ID card number, or BVN number, NIM, and bank number. Those 3 things, we can use it to develop a technology that we can vote.
Yes.
And we don't need to gather somewhere. Every person on your phone, yes, on your phone, you just look at the parties come out, you just click, and you have voted. We can't come up with such a technology. And then on the day of the election, only an insignificant number in the rural areas who cannot access those things, like old women, farmers, just insignificant number. In which case, if politicians were able to manipulate those numbers, it will not be significant to the elections. So results. We can do that. Why can't in Nigeria? Why can't have a history where we say this is what Nigeria has invented? If you talk about America, you talk about going to the moon, you talk about UK. There is one thing. What is one thing that Nigeria will be known from? Even the discovery of oil is not a problem to Nigeria. It has never been a solution. So we can just come up with a technology where we can use our BVN or our national ID card number or our phone number, and every person can stay. If you don't have a phone, you can carry your ATM, go to the ATM this thing, slug in your ATM card, you will just vote. It's just as simple as that, and we can overcome all these issues.
All right.
How can they do it when they want a window to rig elections?
All right. Presidency is aware of failed attempts by Hongshan Fushen Industrial Investment Company Limited, a Chinese company, to take over Nigeria's presidential jets, offshore assets of Nigeria through subterfuge. Mr. Bayo Onanuga, special advisor to the president on information and strategy, in a statement said Hongshan misled the judicial court in Paris into attaching Nigeria's presidential jet in its judgment against Ogun government. He faulted the use of the presidential jets, which were on routine maintenance in France. According to him, the presidential jets are assets of a sovereign entity protected by diplomatic immunity, which forbids any foreign court from issuing an order against them. Zoe, what is your take on this crisis, this scandal around our sovereign assets, the presidential jets?
Nigerians are used to embarrassment. This is not
This one is of international.
Yeah, of course, Nigerians are used to international embarrassment. Remember, in this country, there was a time we had a plane. That is not a government plane anyway. A private plane by a religious leader carrying dollars to South Africa.
You know, that incident and this one are on very two different pedestals.
Yes, I agree with you.
This is actually a threat.
I agree with you. I agree. I will come to.
Of the nation.
Yes, I will come to that. I agree with you. But I'm just trying to let you that Nigerians are used to national or international embarrassment. Okay. But I'm happy that the president have been able to make such a strong statement. Like he said, like the presidency have said, it's a national.
What is strong about this statement?
No. That it's wrong for whatever this thing to hold down the sovereign property. I mean, the property of a sovereign state.
Strong statement?
How do you?
I want you to take a moment and think about the Air Force One of the United States of America.
It's an impossible thing. You can't even imagine it. You can't even imagine it. But that is why I started by saying that Nigerians, the Nigerian nationality is used to embarrassment. There's nothing much they would do. And this also goes, see, when you are doing something internally, you should be conscious of the consequences externally. When you conduct election in a way that is questionable, when you produce a president and government in a way that the international community watch in amazement, these are the kind of some of the responses you will get from the international system. Yes. They will not respect your sovereignty. And that's what is happening here. Because like the example you want to give, I can't just imagine it. No nation can just think of it, can conceive the idea of wanting to. Air Force One, you don't dare it. But Nigeria is used to it, and it boils down to what we do internally is what people react to externally, and this is what we are facing. More embarrassment will come in the future. I won't be surprised.
Bring it down to lesser economies in the West Africa. You recall the 3 countries that left the ECOWAS
Yes, look at Mali.
Hold on, can you imagine Paris doing this to one of those countries?
It's not possible. It's not possible. There was a country who said France citizens must leave.
That's why I'm driving to. And they withstood the French. Even with the threats by Macron, you could see their reaction and what they did.
And stood by it. Now, can you imagine France holding down one of their sovereign assets? I mean, in comparison to the economy, when you look at these Sahel countries now, and you look at Nigeria, in comparison to our economy, to our military strength, to everything, you can what do you have to say about this? This is not just an embarrassment, it's a caricature, if one may say, and to a large extent, with this direct affront and poking in the eye, it's different. Hold on.
It's not even just a caricature. It's even like capturing the president of the nation.
It's different.
Yes, that's what it implies.
It's actually different if this is done by a country to another country. This is done by a firm.
A firm.
That's what I want to.
This is done by
I want to
a company in France.
To you. Laurentia,
the weight of this.
I want to make it make sense to you. We don't need to go far away because this is a national and international embarrassment. This is a slap on the sovereignty of Nigeria. This is what we have brought upon ourselves, like the Israelis. Whenever you call for a peace mediation to end the Gaza war, they say that they brought it upon themselves. We brought this upon ourselves, and we have seen it coming long ago. When our so-called allies engage in shady deals, like you are not oblivious of the likes of Dangote now calling out some people in Nigeria that they go to Malta to refine. Oh, yeah. Are you amazed that a country that prides herself as one of the mega stakeholders of OPEC does not have a functional refinery? our refinery keeps undergoing turnaround maintenance. The turnaround does not, has the bows holding the turnaround has suddenly gone whitewashed, that it has nowhere to hook. That is, the other nations, like Zoe said, are there looking at us. This is laughable. This is something you cannot conceive of, even a little nation like Chad in the African continent. Not talk about South Africa. South Africa had to take Israel and take the world to the World Court, ICC, yes. Is it not?
Yes.
Because they suffered apartheid, they are standing on that and taking it upon themselves. No matter how you hate Palestinians, hate them or like them, or their conduct and this involved, because humanity is involved, South Africa had to take it upon themselves and go where the world will hear them. What has Nigeria done? And there is also a man in South Africa that the world have carved a day to celebrate in the person of Nelson Mandela. That is what is giving South Africa an advantage position when it comes to the international community. But what do we get in Nigeria? Our leaders will finish leading. They cannot even go outside the shores of Nigeria to make any statements or any impact, and they'll be respected. Coming down to this, the only place you will see that this particular company got their leverage is because the deal was shrouded in secrecy. The deal, they got to know that Nigerians, when they want to give contracts, there are so many things that are not discussed in the open. Even when the governor must have set up a committee, there is also a closed-door meeting with the particular firm. And you are exposing yourself, thinking you are, mortgaging your citizens. At the end of the day, this is the backlash. Because you cannot tell me that those agreements and documents were done in the open. And this particular...
In a transparent manner.
In a transparent manner. And this particular firm will find a loophole to hold a nation hostage. And this calls to mind. France will call African International Summit with Africa. A whole 56 nation will run to France, one country, to go and do what? Get a handout. Look at what Zoe said about electing people to man the affairs of Nigeria. What happened? A governor was elected, and the governor does not know the bounds of his signing a treaty or signing a bilateral agreement between a firm that will only have effect within the jurisdiction of his state. It has now, the document overlapped covering Nigeria, when the Nigerian state never knew anything concerning the so-called agreement. And now, for them to hold the assets of Ogun State, because there is a clause that involves Nigeria as a nation, which you and I, we are never aware of, it is now that when the gentleman agreement has gone sour, like it is in River State, the whole world is hearing it, and we are now suffering it. So what am I trying to say is that when they are going into this bilateral agreement, let them read in between the lines. Let them know where the bounds are overlapping, whether the Nigerian state will be called in, whether the whole Ogun State will be called in, or whether it will transcend with the governor that already initiated that move, so that when those things are to be paid, the remunerations or the taking back of whatever agreement it is, it will not mortgage the people. This signing of this agreement is a mortgaging of the future of the people of Ogun State. We are talking about Nigeria. After Nigeria has retrieved it, what about the future of unborn generations in Ogun State? What are they going to do? That is where the meat of the matter lies.
Interesting question.
Well, this is an hostage to the Nigerian government, but it goes to say the way you, there's this common saying, the way you dress your bed, so you lie on it. Internally, Nigerians or Nigerian government should be doing the right thing. The way they should treat our citizens, the way she carry out governance, all things the international communities are watching. And it is these things they will use to accord you the respect you deserve in the international system. This is a total international embarrassment.
And who has the chunk of the business transacted? Because if you want to be open and transparent in business, you don't want a kickback. You don't want to be a Ganduje caught on national television, pocketing dollar. This is exactly what the governor of Ogun State have done. Because within the said closed door meeting, those firms, they are not daft. They know that there are some certain things you have mortgaged to yourself. You want to gain the chunk of it instead of allowing it to benefit the larger society. And this is the embarrassment that is causing for non-transparent process, and for you, in order to get what you want. And again, before I leave this, Laurentia, you remember that this is the same thing that was done during the Amechi administration that took the jet of River State to Germany. And whatever that has done, if not for the person of Nyesom Wike, would River State have gotten, maybe by now, they would have sold it. It had been sold and somebody would have pocketed the money without nobody knowing.
Remember I said Nigerians...
Yes, but when those agreements were done, was it done in the open? That is a no. Was it in the handover note that Amechi dropped for Wike? The answer is no. It has to take a third party for River State to be aware that the River State jet was bought and packed somewhere. And this is exactly what happened in this so-called agreement entered into by this Chinese firm and the Ogun State. All right.
Federation Account Allocation Committee says 3 tiers of government shared 1.358 trillion naira in July. This represents 4 billion naira increase compared to the 1.354 trillion naira shared in June. On Friday, FAC held its August meeting chaired by Wale Edun, Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy. According to a statement by Mohammed Manga, Director, Information and Public Relations, Ministry of Finance, FAC shared the amount from a total revenue of 2.61 trillion naira available in July. Now, these monies, when mentioned and when it's broken down, you realize that the states are actually getting sizable amounts as compared to before the fuel subsidy removal. The question is, what are the states actually doing with these monies? Zoe, let me start with you.
Choma, your question, there's a song they say, if you ask me, now who I go ask? Now, this money, I'm thinking, sometimes I like thinking wide, just want to exercise my brain. The way things are going in Nigeria, we are talking about trillions. Nigeria is just about 200 and something million
people.
Exaggerated.
Divide it.
Exaggerated.
Just exaggerated. Yes. Divide it.
We don't have operational census.
Government, see,
in Nigeria,
almost everything in Nigeria. I said it in a sister station that during the NSAS protest. The hardship protest. I said it that the only thing today in Nigeria that makes Nigerians to still think they have a government is the fuel price, the price of fuel, when it was 165 naira. That's the only thing that connects governments, or that this what they call the social contract between the citizens and the government. Outside that, once you go outside that, every other thing in this country, citizens provide for themselves. Is it in healthcare delivery? Is it education? Ordinary water that we are standing on. Ordinary water. If you want what you are, if you build a house, you have to sink borehole for yourself. Every other thing. But month in, month out, they announce to us the amount of money they disburse among themselves. What did they do with this money? Particularly the governors. So instead of saying you're using this money, why not you just distribute this money so that people can provide governance for themselves? Because people provide security for themselves. The security we have today only provides security for those in government. So these are the issue. I don't know. Well, this they don't know the implication of telling us this. They are just building us up for the revolution that is coming. How it will come is what we don't know. Like somebody came, one of the presidency spokespersons said revolution is a violent taking over. We are not in any way violent taking over of government. What is his name? Mahatma Gandhi did not, there was no violence in taking a government in India. Martin Luther King, you know. So we are not talking about violence, but also know that there is a saying that those who make peaceful change impossible make violent change inevitable. And what we are saying is that the president, the government shouldn't take us to that part. Because when you see people, see, there is a rich man's in the neighborhood, there's a rich man there, there's a poor man there. And every day the rich man children comes out with ice cream, with good food, they are eating, and the poor man children, they are looking, they are hungry. One day, they will forcefully go for that food. And that's what we're asking this government to avoid. The government had the opportunity to listen to us. The last 10 days we came out. They were busy doing propaganda. They were busy organizing. See, we have a government that is very funny. See, we need to examine the psyche of the people who want to be our leaders in the public sphere. The government said that people should not protest. At the same time, they are organizing anti-protesters. Pro-protesters to anti-protest the protesters. So such is the kind of mindset, the kind of thinking of the people we have. So these are the issues. It is not enough to come and tell us how much you have disbursed in the month of July. What is the impact of that disbursement on the ordinary citizen? Those are the questions we are asking, and those are the things we will take up with the Nigerian government at the appropriate time.
Well, the fact they have done their part by letting Nigerians know that this is the
we
amount
thank them for the information
that has been released. So now probably it's left for Nigerians, for you and Ugochukwu and every other person.
We will at the appropriate
to start
time.
asking their governors, what are you doing with the money? Ugochukwu, what do you have to make of this story?
What I want to say, I want to bring it to Rivers State and Imo State, my home state. I've not seen anything governance.
In Rivers State?
In Imo State in the last 5 years.
Okay, you're talking of Imo State now?
Imo State in the last 5 years, there is no governance and there is no peace. And insecurity is being created, is a creation of the government.
In Imo State?
Yes, it's a creation of the government, because if the governance is at his best, nobody has need to go to fight the government or being indifferent with what the government is doing, because everybody likes a good life. So in Imo State, it's been one propaganda or the other. It's been the governor of Imo State trying to chastise the unseen enemies and unseen hands. At a time, you heard that they were dealing with unknown gunmen, whereby people are coming out. What are the state actors doing? What are the security agencies doing? You know, what are the local vigilantes that the governor is sponsoring? What are their jobs? So there is no infrastructural development. There is no concerted effort to improve the lives of an average Imolite. The road leading from Olo Junction to Idato South, the Rochas Okrochas home, is in a very discapable condition. You cannot even say it's immotorable, because it has totally collapsed. That people now go through Mbano and Angara before they access towards that area. Then coming down to Rivers State, where I've been in the few last months, you find out that the governor has been busy, receiving an improved allocation, because after the removal of fuel subsidy, you cannot take away the receival of 13% oil derivation. You cannot take away the security vote. Nobody in Nigeria seems to be talking about security vote again. But you have seen governors come to Nigeria and say that I will use my security vote to add to the monies that I receive as allocation to improve the lives of the people. And the question is, even in those states, how improved is the lives of their people. Then the governor of Rivers State, as other governors, have received the money for palliative. You remember that in the last week we were inundated in the news channels that they were sharing 573 billion, whether it's a grant, whether it's a free money. The governor of Oyo State says the money they spent in COVID. I asked you people that were here in Rivers State during the time of COVID, whether palliative were dropped in your doorsteps, whether any government in Nigeria, apart from Lagos State that I watched, that made extra effort in containing it and in reaching out to people, whether there is any other state in Nigeria that cared much for their people. Even NDDC went into controversy. Even the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs went into controversy because of the monies that were earmarked to take care of people during the COVID, that people started fainting on national television and all that. And the people were giving children food with school feeding when they were in their parents' house. And no parent agreed that the government brought food for them at home to feed their children as part of the school feeding program. This is what we see in Nigeria. And if the governor of Rivers State, you remember last Sunday I complained of the lack of functional fire service station in Rivers State. The pipe they laid since last year, breaking people's frontage and the streets that they were going to give us water. As Zoe say, Nigerians provide water for themselves, security. An average man in Nigeria is a local government. You have your house, you pay your NEPA bills, you provide water for yourself, you also pay security for your street. Where in the world does it happen? Only in Nigeria. So what is the governor of Rivers State doing with the monies that we are hearing now? In this 1.something trillion, you will see how much Rivers State will get. The Songhai farm, the importation of fertilizer and distributing to farmers on subsidized rate. How is even the government affecting people's lives? Laurentia, this morning I was listening to a sister radio station. There was somebody called and was saying that people are always coming on television and radio to say that the governor is doing well. If you want to attack the governor, they will say no, the governor is a people's governor. But the governor is busy disobeying court orders. The governor's handlers are busy gingering him not to hearken to the voice of reason, to look into the affairs and what is concerning, what will improve the lives of an every night. I mean, a caller that I don't know can think of that in that particular radio station, anybody that want to speak against the government, they say no. He now asks them, is the governor, having failed to represent the budget as directed by a court, not even the 8-point agenda of reconciliation that Mr. President did, has he not committed gross misconduct to warrant his impeachment in front of Rivers State House Assembly? So these are some of the questions that lay people are asking. I'm not even asking on myself, who have an informed opinion on national television. Somebody called on a radio and was lending his voice on some national issues. So look at the monies that are. How has the governor prioritized? I have told the governor of Rivers State, you are not in competition with anybody. You'll be judged according to what your government perform. If you want to prioritize education, as Amechi did, and health, prioritize. If you want to prioritize, giving bursary, prioritize. Don't compete with the previous administration on road network, because no matter what, take it to the CBN. Because I don't know the healthiness of other banks, as we are hearing. Go and check if Simea Fubara likes, as Zoe is here, he can let them hear. Zoe is here, he can take it to them. That if he like, let him consult all the rural area, all the rural roads in Rivers State. He cannot outperform what Nyesom Wike did, because these flyovers is a signature project. That's what we call signature project, that the blind can see. That whatever in route he want to make in roads, he cannot outperform what Nyesom Wike have done.
Should I stop
let him
from
no, it cannot. But no, it cannot. But let him prioritize.
Internal roads in
That's what. No, I've said it that he can go ahead and do. But let him look at other areas that has not been captured. That will be his signature project. Like I'm talking about fire service. He can go to the local governments, float functionable fire service stations, buy new vehicles and put. Go to the local governments, import tractors. Let us move away from archaic mechanism, farming mechanism, and move into mechanized farming. This, he will write his name in gold in River State for those doing these two things, Laurentia. It will carve a need for him in generations to come that a governor came, a house got burnt in front of me. There was nothing we could do. River State only hopes on the shell. They say, what can they do? Private again. So the monies they are getting has not in any way transformed the lives of Nigerians, both federal and state.
All right. Zoe, what do you have to say? I know you're not for what, because Ifeanyi Uchukwu said all the things he has said, you should take it directly to the governor. So he let that.
Well, that message, I don't know how possible that message is. I'm not a spokesperson for the governor. I don't agree.
You are among the governor's handlers.
No, I'm not among the governor's handlers. I'm not in government. Have you seen me in government house before? I don't agree on some of the indices and analysis you have given. However, you made critical points, and the point I would join you to emphasize is this governor had a golden opportunity to write his name in gold. In fact, it's unfortunate that I observe that those who are around the governor, they don't want, discerning voices. They don't want people from outside who can look beyond the black political space. Yes, and give a good advice. There are some good advice we can give. For example, if I have opportunity to see the governor, I'll tell him, Mr. Governor, according to you did not even plan. This is by destiny.
Yes.
You have become a governor. Forget about 2027.
It's not his long lifetime
Just
ambition.
Forget about 2027. Take these 3 years and write your name.
Of course.
Or even decide in your mind, call your family, call your wife. Look, my wife, we are going to do this 4 years. We are leaving this place. And once you come up with that mind, because some of these political fights or the rest, it's 2027. It's not necessary. It is, I will sit with the governor and say, look, Your Excellency, take this the next 3 years. Even the local government election he wants to do, that, they are making it difficult for him in the party and all the rest. There is something the governor can do. A legal process, that can work very well for him. And he will write his name in history of someone who have come up with such an idea. First in Nigeria, even before I believe the federal government will want to copy him. And he will conduct a very free and fair elections that Rivers people for the first time will participate in the electoral process, and the outcome will reflect the vote of the people and not what they used to sit down in government house to write. There is such an idea. There are other ideas in other areas, like you mentioned Amechi. Let me tell you, in Rivers State, talk Amechi in any way.
Of course.
Yes, we don't like him that he fought our man who was a president. But when it comes to health
and education,
it is something people have enjoyed and passed.
Yes.
But they will continue to remember Amechi
for that.
When it comes to employment, an open, transparent employment in Rivers State till tomorrow. Not when I was not born. I don't know what happened in Data Spiff employment. I don't know what happened in Okilo's employment. But the one eyewitness that I would tell my children, that has been the best employment so far, where everybody, those who didn't get the job, went home satisfied. There were no rumors here and there. They took their people. No. There is nothing like, where is the list of my 4 people? No. So these are things the governor, former governor Amechi has given to himself. So you may judge him. No man is perfect. But there is something you can talk about Amechi when it comes to governance in Rivers State. Health and education and employment. Give it to him. So there are things we can sit down with this governor to say, look, Your Excellency, this is the area is biting the people more. Move more of your resources to this place. As I speak to you in Rivers State, there is no laboratory, secondary school laboratory, where students go to learn in chemistry lab, physics lab, and biology lab. There is none. I stand and I challenge anybody. There is none in Rivers State. Even the secondary school close to government house in GRA, they don't have equipped laboratory where students can go and say, this is this equipment, this is this equipment, this is the skeleton. There is none. So there are some little things you would do that would directly affect the market woman, that would directly affect the medicine man, the bricklayer, that he will now know that he have a government. Some of these ideas are there. But how do we get access to this? So those of the people who are around the governor have created that cage, so that it will be only them. He will hear from only them. But I am interested in Rivers State. So I don't have that platform you're giving to me. I don't have access to the governor. If I do, how do I look for the governor? I've written several letters personally submitted in government house. Till today I've not had anything. But I know that the governor, looking at his kind of person, if he sees such letters, he will likely invite you to say, what are you saying about this letter? But
probably you don't have voice, because
I don't need to have voice to contribute to my quota.
When you have voice,
I don't need to have voice. So to round it up, I believe that the governor has a golden opportunity. Even though I don't share in some of the statistics, because you can't say the governor is not. The governor is doing something, but again, the question is in relation to the money received.
Yes.
That is the point you're making.
Yes.
So we can ask these questions if we are given the opportunity to also have interface with the government. So the governor have a golden opportunity to write his name in gold. They still have 3 years. We are looking at things will get better. Less than 3 years, whatever.
Less than 3 years.
Yes. Even 1 year, you can. It's government we are talking about. You have the resources. All you need is the right people who can deliver. See, I have been in position of little leadership. What I have discovered that make me succeed, that today in even other institutions they will call me. There was an interview I did. Okay, in my small firm, I did an interview. So I wrote the interview questions and I invited a professional to come and conduct the interview. When he finished, he came and asked me. He said, "How did you come about this question?" Because we want to employ people who are coming with different degrees. They have degree. I'm not interested. You have gotten that. That is for your basic knowledge. Now you want to work for us. And we have people we are dealing with here. So I sent a question. What is your definition of love? How will you relate in love with a client? So what I have discovered, once you become a leader, don't think you are the best. Or you have all the knowledge, that's why you're a leader. One of the best secrets to become a successful leader is when once you attain the position of a leader, find the best people around you that can deliver whatever you want to do. Once the governor does that, 1 year he will turn this state around. We have
the Nigerian system does not allow to for what Zoe is saying, because this one is theoretical.
But that is what we need to move to make progress.
It cannot be applied.
Once the governor get the right people that will deliver what he wants in the state, he will make right.
Zoe, one last thing, please tell the governor to for the employment.
I am the president of Rivers Emancipation Movement.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, thank you so much, gentlemen, for making our time to be with me today on Open Air. Thank you, Zoe, for coming. It's always a pleasure having you. Thank you, Gochukwu, for coming. I was applauding both of you for being on the same page at the beginning of the show. And interestingly, towards the end, you told different parts. But then it is what it is. This is where we wrap it up on this episode of Open Air. We are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Do not forget, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. I am Ugu Laurentia. See you same time tomorrow. Bye for now.
Economic stability.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
Place economic stability and confidence.
Accept the privilege to lead of this minister at the top of justice.
Access to our money we put in the bank.